Hey, not dead yet. Not dead yet, motherfuckers. Okay? Close, but there's a pulse. Miami Dolphins taking out the Cleveland Browns today. And thankfully, because of the New York Football Giants, I would have thought the Jags would have had a fighting chance against Indy. I did not think in a million years as I'm doing the pregame today. I was watching this, and I'm like, oh, my God, look at the Giants lighting up the Colts, who had Joe Flacco going today at the Meadowlands. They've been terrible. Sets the Dolphins up for a game in Cleveland to keep their playoff hopes alive, and by God, they've done it. Snoop Huntley with a big-time performance today to get the Miami Dolphins within a grasp of the postseason. A stressful couple of days for the Dolphin, basically seeming like Tua Tagovailoa is unable to go, and I'm doing this right as the game ends. I'm not listening to post-game. I'll do reaction because I'm sure there'll be some more insight into Tua, who you saw there on the sidelines today with the Belichick hoodie. But you get that news, and yeah, it's hard not to feel depressed. It's hard not to feel like, oh my God, it's happening again. Like the Dolphins are going to be in this position where it's over, dude. This is how it's going to go down. No Tua, no offense. Could Snoop Huntley get it going? And mother bleeper, he got it going. And really, his numbers today were not only impressive, but you think about the idea that he had those numbers on top of the fact, man, his damn offense couldn't get out of its own way. It felt like he was dealing with penalties galore on the offensive line. It was crazy. None of these drives could sustain in the first half because you had either a personal foul call or a holding or God knows what the hell he was dealing with. But you had drives just falling apart left and right for the Miami Dolphins, whether it was a Brewer holding call or Isaiah Wynn getting into it. And you're just like, come on, dude. Can you guys just I'll deal with you with just a lack of talent. I'll deal with that. That's fine. I think any fan can accept that. But for the love of God, can you just get out of your own way? Just get out of your own way and let's see what happens. But, he just had a comfort with throwing that thing right over the middle. Every drive, it felt like he was getting his feet wet, throwing it to Tyreek Hill. What a concept. Throw it to your best player and get things going. And it just settled Snoop Huntley down. It got him in a position to just feel good and be in a place where he was comfortable. And I just thought it was a good plan from Miami off the jump. There were just not many drives the Browns could sustain and get things going. When the Dolphins went up 3-0, Jason Sanders 54-yard field goal, it hit the crossbar and went over. I was like, man, this guy's got some. He's got some horseshoe up the butt luck with his field goals lately. Not only is he hitting everything, but he's even getting the help of the crossbar gods to get in there. So, but look, it was not an exciting game a lot of the time from the standpoint of just like there were plenty of drives too that were just like, just if it wasn't a hold or if it wasn't a penalty, there would be a terrible sack or whatnot. I don't know how many sacks he ended up taking. They took four sacks today for Snoop Huntley. Yeah, man. Like that was one of those where you're just thinking to yourself, all right, dude, let's try and get out of this. I will say, this Myles Garrett, he's too strong. He's too strong. He's almost too strong for the rest of football. The only man who may rival him is Calais Campbell, but Calais Campbell doesn't look like he was chiseled out of granite. Like just absolutely killing it. Patrick Paul got himself a welcome to the NFL moment today. Dolphins once again had to deal with not only Tua going down, not only no Waddle, but Teron Armstead yet again dealing with an injury mid-game. And he didn't look good. Kind of is what it is with him. I mean, you give him this is, I think, where people who were upset for Tua not playing him, I don't know what the status of that is, but it's like, hey, Teron's going out there and he's giving it literally trying to give it a go, and he couldn't play good football. Even he's getting penalties left and right. But on the other end of it, man, like you had you had some really the defense was flying all over the place. I know I know Dorian Thompson-Robinson is no first prize. This is also a sneaky revenge game because this is the last guy that they picked over Snoop Huntley, which kind of allowed Snoop Huntley to be out there for everybody to go get. So it was a sneaky revenge game for Snoop to go out there and make this thing happen. And what does he do? He goes out there and puts it to the tune of, man, look at these final stats from him. 22 of 26, 225 yards, 1 touchdown to Jonnu Smith there to cap things off. And then his other touchdown was rushing, 7 carries for 52 yards and an 18-yard touchdown run. He was marvelous today, man. I mean, the only thing you could really say with him is, maybe there was pocket awareness. Dude, I don't know, man. I thought that the rookie was getting beat the hell up today. I thought that there were Rob Jones did not have a good game. That left side of the line had a rough go of it today. So I can't really get Snoop. There was one where it was crazy where he got spun around like a top and just fling the ball, and it ended up with Raheem Mostert. I was like, whoa, that was crazy. So, but the Dolphins, they end up going into they go into halftime dealing with all of this, and you're sitting here just wondering, like, all right, can they get anything going together? Because every drive just felt like it was undisciplined and something was killing you. Like the one that was a real frustrating one, Terrell Dodson got an interception on DTR, and then he removes his helmet. Larry Zonka was even mad about this, and you don't upset Zonk. So that set the Dolphins back. Then Tehran got a holding, then a false start, and just like, come on, guys, that should at least be a field goal. It was interesting in this, though, that CBS gave their first window into the whole Tua thing, where they had said that Mike McDaniel got a sense on Thursday that Tua wasn't looking like himself, and so he worked on a second game plan. And so that's where they were at with that. So right before the half, the Dolphins are able to freeze out the Browns. Late stoppage. Dolphins got about 45 seconds left. They march down with 16 seconds left. Tua gets it to Malik Washington. They're able to spike it and get a field goal right going into halftime. McDaniel says the same thing. Can we just stop shooting ourselves in the foot? They get a stop coming out of the break. And then, man, just a pristine drive first time the Dolphins touched the football out of halftime. You got to give credit for whatever adjustments or whatever plans they made coming out. But he found beautiful plays to Tyreek Hill. They got a face mask to buoy it. They got one to Malik Washington, one to River Craycraft. And then Snoop took it in for himself. And the Dolphins got it by 10. And it really felt, honestly, the way that game was going, it kind of felt like it was over at that point. Like 10 points might as well have been 100 to the Cleveland Browns with how they're going with things. The only thing that, like, I think probably stood out like this, Calais Campbell then just got on a crazy heater for the Dolphins defensively. Like, just he had DTR nearly to the ground, and he just heaved a ball into the sidelines for intentional grounding. And then the next drive that he gets the ball, he should have gotten it. He got himself another sack, and then the Dolphins ended up getting back-to-back sacks, one from Calais and then one from Emmanuel Agba that Deshaun Hand recovers. And this was the one where you're like, you got frustrated because the Dolphins set themselves up with, huge turnovers, and they ended up coming away empty on both of them. And Mike McDaniel, God love him, dude. All right. Adorable little weirdo that he is. He's so bad at the challenge. And the Dolphins get themselves in pretty position. Snoop is trying to reach out for the first line. Okay, it looks like it's a spot, but like anytime Mike McDaniel thinks that he has it, I just immediately, I'm sorry, my recoil is it's wrong. If he's going to challenge it, I know it's wrong. That's just how it is. If he thinks that this challenge is going to go his way, I immediately just, if he thinks it, then obviously it's going to get over because he's so bad at the challenge. Regardless. Okay, surprise, surprise, the challenge didn't work out. Then he calls like a pitch to Achane like 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage for a 4th and 1. And I think they said it would have been like a 54-yard field goal. I don't know what the hell that was. What the hell was that? And then Another one. This was the second time this happened today, where they called a pass. They said it was a forward pass. This time he's freaking out because he thinks it should be a backward pass. They bring Steratore in there. They go, nah, that's not going to happen. And of course it wasn't going to happen because Mike McDaniel challenged it. And why would Mike McDaniel challenges work out? They never work out. So he's like 4 for 18 in his career on Coach's Challenge. He's the worst at it. I can't imagine anybody has a worse record than that. He's like the Emilio Bonifacio of Coach's Challenge. I just always think that it's going to be broken up. You did get a couple of, there was some other things that were frustrating on this. Like Jordan Brooks had a sick-ass play, nice hit. He got called for unnecessary roughness. I'm like, where I come from, that's a football hit. But he got flagged for it. Eventually, the Browns get all the way down into goal line situation, and Jalen Ramsey breaks it up. Finns are sitting pretty. They're looking real good. And then, it's kind of a back and forth of no drives going there in this fourth quarter. That Dolphins are feeling comfortable with their 10-point lead. Patrick Paul is trying to survive all things Myles Garrett, who's trying to rack up his numbers, and he's just very scary. Jordan Brooks had a huge play to get a Dolphins turnover on downs, and then you get a nice final cherry on top drive for the Dolphins. Snoop would find it to Tyreek Hill, who finished the day over 100 yards. So Tyreek Hill is within striking distance now of his 1,000-yard season next week. And Snoop would find it to Jonnu Smith for the final touchdown, and your Miami Dolphins would go on to win this puppy by the tune of 20-3 and get themselves to an even Steven 8-8 on the season. So here's the situation. Yesterday, Bengals beat the Broncos. The Colts lose to the Giants today. The Dolphins beat the Browns. The Dolphins, to get in the playoffs, need to beat the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, there's infighting. Garrett Wilson's asking for trades. Sauce Gardner's telling T. Higgins to stay away from the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, who the hell knows what's going to happen with him, but he's moping. He's getting unnecessary roughness calls. Dolphins at the Jets next week. You have to, and on that side, you have that, and then the Dolphins win that, and the Broncos need to lose to a Chiefs team that reportedly is not going to play anybody. They're reportedly not going to play anybody. But Andy Reid, don't forget years ago, dude, the Dolphins did you a solid. Perhaps, even if it's just a half, maybe just think about it. Think about it. You don't want to be too rusty, baby. And the Bundle-Rooski, you got to work on it, dude. So just give it. I'm not begging. I'm not here. I'm not pathetic. I'm not going to beg. But just try it on for size, baby. If you want to maybe just think about, giving your guys a little bit of run, maybe for a half, do a Pop-Tart Bowl, right? Like let's play for real for a half season, and then we'll do some development street. See what's what. But the Dolphins, look, they have to feel like, all right, for everything they've been through, as annoying as it was at times, you do have to give the team credit for coming through with today's win. You do. You'd have to be a real curmudgeon bastard to not be like, hey, you went on the road, sloppy weather, backup quarterback. You're just learning that QB1's not able to go, and Snoop Huntley puts up that kind of performance. I thought he was good, man. If it wasn't for the penalties left and right, he probably would have had even better numbers today. He gets revenge on the team that dumped on him. How could you not be proud of your team for that? And yeah, this may all set up for a first round drubbing, but yeah, what are you playing? You're not like the Giants who are playing for draft status. Is it going to be middle of the road draft team? Like, get after it. I'm all for it. So, props to Snoop, props to Tyreek, props to Calais Campbell, Jordan Brooks, Terrell Dodson, except from taking off your helmet, you angered Zonk. Sanders, you continue to have this golden boot lately. Lots of guts all around. Dolphins get it done and keep themselves alive in the playoff hunt.